Okay, now let us talk about this mini series coming from Amazon, and it is Them. It was created by Little Marvin. Its executive producer is Lena Waithe. Now, with everything that we do, we need to use critical thinking. We need to connect the dots and most definitely ask questions. Now, this is not your typical series focusing on racism in America's past. They are showing you the supernatural aspect of it, and they are showing you the spiritual aspect. Now, this surrounds a black family that moves from North Carolina into a white neighborhood, right? Now, the area that they moved in is an area that have a covenant on it, right? Because when the wife was looking on the paperwork, it clearly stated that the property should not be sold or rented, leased to any person whose blood is not entirely that of Caucasian race. No person of Negro blood or heritage shall occupy the premises. Right? No, this property was sold knowingly to the husband that this covenant, this deal was on the property. Right? Now, this house, this area that they lived in, is an area where some covenants were made. Now, that is the first of 3. Right? And the moment they entered that property, supernatural activities start to happen. And the youngest daughter, she's the one that noticed that something is wrong, and she's the one that started to experience it, try to tell her family, but as usual, they brushed it aside. Now, the family, they got a dog, and these entities swiftly get rid of the dog because dogs can see these entities and they will attack them. So you cannot have the dog around, you've got to get rid of the dog, right? Now, each member of this black family is carrying around emotional baggage. They've got their own demon assigned to them. Right? Now, there is so much to this series. No wonder they kept it so quiet. So please go and watch it for yourself. Use critical thinking and connect the dots. Right? Because the mother was brutally raped in North Carolina. She was gang raped, and she had to watch these people murder her son, her 3rd child. Right? So she's carrying around a lot. And the daughter, the eldest daughter, she have a problem with the way she looks. She's not comfortable in her skin. So she have a demon, an entity that follows her at school. And that entity comes in the form of a white girl. And I notice with that entity, it is encouraging little Ruby to take part in sexual debauchery, but it is doing it very subtle. Right? So you need to pay attention to the scenes where the girl Doris is around Ruby, and notice how subtle things has been done to push her into that direction. Right? Because people do not understand the energy of sex. They do not understand the spirituality surrounding sex. They think sex is just sex. Right? And another scene with Ruby is when Ruby painted her body white, right? Which reminds me of what is happening in today's world, where you've got a lot of females in Africa and parts of the Caribbean that will bleach their skin to the point where they get ill, right? A few of them have even died because they crave to be light, they crave whiteness. No, that is not by chance. That was by design, right? No, you need to understand that all the angels that were thrown out of heaven, they were all white. And if you disbelieve or you think I'm reaching, go and look on your elite families. Look on the rulers of this world. They are all white, right? They are not black and brown people. Understand what is happening. When these fallen angels were on earth, they were busy having sex. Sex is what started it all, right? And they were creating their own bloodline and putting them in position of power, right? Because the Antichrist will be white, right? Let us face it, the Antichrist won't be black or brown. The Antichrist will be white, right? Now, let's keep it moving, because the Father, he has his own entity, his own demon to deal with, which is a black-faced entity. And that entity is pumping up the Father to go out and commit violent acts, right? So this family is very disturbed, and they move into a property that have a blood covenant that states that black people or people of black heritage should not live in this property, right? And the realtors sold them this property knowing this information. The husband also purchased the property knowing the information, and the wife saw it at the very end, right? Now, let's keep it moving, because it gets very disturbing. We've got the main antagonist in this series, which is the white female, Mrs. Betty Wendell, right? Now, Betty is the one that go around and gather the troops, rally the troops around to get the campaign of 8 against her black neighbor, right? And when you watch this series, you will realize that all these white female, they all stay on code. They all gather around in their little chicken posse, their little chicken head posse, discussing how they are going to destroy their neighbor. So you see, some things never change, right? Now, Betty Wendell, she also have her faults. She got her problems because she's in a marriage that is loveless. She's from an elite family. And when she went to her parents' home to get help, and her parents' palatial home, because her father is in oil. Now you got to connect the dots and ask yourself this question. What is it that they're trying to tell us? Right? Now her father is a wealthy, outstanding citizen living in this palatial mansion, and his daughter is there to receive some help. But to the look of things, this man is looking to have some sort of a sexual relation with his very own child before he can render any assistance to her financially. And the mother knows well what is about to happen, but Betty couldn't stand for it, and Betty walked away, right? Now Betty is abused by her parents, and she's abused by her husband as well, because her husband is not very interested in her, and he used up all their savings. Now Betty turned to the milkman George, because she wanted to rally the troops around to go and attack her black neighbor. Now when she go to George, George drugged her and put her in a underground facility that he have on his rural farm. Now, what is it that these people are trying to tell us? That in the United States, some of these rural farms got underground facilities that they are holding people against their will? Is that what they're trying to tell us? Pay attention and ask critical questions, because it only gets worse for Betty Wendell. Right? Because when you're a low vibrational entity that goes around making mischief and simply can't mind your own business, bad things usually happens to you. Now, finally, she made an escape. She thought she had. And when she was running, George shot her down like an animal, which was very sad. You've got to ask, what are they trying to tell us? Right? Now, let us go into the second covenant, right? Because this series, is all about covenant and the position of power, how you get power and how you keep power. Because we all walk around in this world feeling that the power and privilege that some of us have, it just fall out the sky. You all need to understand that there are entities around us right? They never left. They are still here, right? And these entities are busy putting their bloodline in position for a reason, right? Now, another scene in this that I find disturbing is when the wife Lucky was placed in a mental institution, and when she get there, I find the whole dynamics of the situation very disturbing, which sheds a important light on how black people's mental health is looked after. Because when the husband is trying to see his wife, the woman that is in charge blocked him. When the wife is asking about her family, the woman is letting her know that her family has moved on, right? And then she's butchering these females, cutting them in their head, cutting parts of their brains off, and then saying that this will make them better when these women are walking around the facility like zombies, right? Pay attention, ask questions. Now we're on to the covenant between the Dutch immigrant Epps and the devil, right? Because these immigrants believe that they own the United States of America, and in this scene, Epps is very disturbed that he had to give up his wife and child for the betterment of the community that they're trying to grow, to build, right? And this is what the devil has to say. I am the one you worship in your heart. I've answered when he kept silent. We are bonded together. Epps go on to says, do I meet you only to die? The devil answered, do you pray to triumph over death? And so it shall be. You pray to shake the world, and so you shall. Epps answered, I know it would be like this. Tell me your will, Lord. Pay attention to the use of the word Lord, because Lord is another word for demon. The devil answered, you see how it happens with them? Everything they touch, they destroy. You must destroy them first. Speaking of some black traveler, a black traveler couple that stopped in their community that they brutally killed. We'll talk a little bit about them later on. You must destroy them first. Man answered, tell me how, Lord. Devil, I have already shown you the way. A wound in the heart is like a door. You walk through the door and break their hearts from the inside. If I break them from inside, shall I defeat death? The devil answered, with this broken soul shall you purchase endless life, and such power men have only in dreams. So if this Dutch settler is able to destroy black people through slavery, right, then they will become very powerful. That is the deal. Right? Let's continue. But if you should fail to break them, your own soul shall be forfeit. If you should fail to bring them suffering, you will suffer. If you should fail to make hell for them, one instead will be made for you. Do you accept these terms? Now, when you watch this series, this part, pay attention to the devil, because he keeps changing form from a child to a young man to an old man to an older man. Keep an eye on that scene, right? Now let's move on. The devil then says, take my hand. Our covenant is sealed. As Epps took the hand of the devil and shake it, right? Now, you all need to understand what went on in the past and what is about to happen in the future, because they've got a traveler that visit their little community that they promised to help. Instead, they brutally kill them. But there was a conversation that the wife was having with the rest of the ladies, And in that conversation, they were asking the wife about how she's going to give birth, how her child is going to come, if her child is just going to fall out walking, if her child comes out like a pony, something to that effect. Which brings me back to reality, to what is happening in the UK with such an alarming amount of black women dying in childbirth or after childbirth, right? Because right there, they are saying there's a difference between a black pregnancy and a white pregnancy. A black pregnancy, their children come out like animals, right? That's what they are saying. Now, let us keep it moving and connect these dots. Because, as I said before, each family member got their own demon following them around. But in the interest of time, you will have to go watch the series and understand what's happening, because the mother is the one that will have to break the covenant in her basement, because Epps make the deal with the devil in a basement as well, on the very same land that her house is built on. Let's pick it up from here. Epps, why have you come here? Lucky answered, not your concern, devil. What is that I am here now. Epps go on to say, your trespass upset the order of things. God intended our community stay pure of intention, of purpose, of blood. Lucky answered, who gave you the right? Epps replied, the Lord himself. As it is written, you vile indolent race, suffer toil at our hands. Lucky replied, not in any book I've read. Epps go on to say, spiteful beast, have you considered this? This shall not end, that your curse followed you here to our land. Pay attention. He is a Dutch immigrant to the Americas, and he's saying our land, right? Pay attention. And will follow you without escape into the next. You had a covenant, a most sacred bond. So he's telling, the demonic entity is telling Lucky that they had a covenant. What they're talking about is a covenant that the black man have with his creator. Let's keep it moving. A most sacred bond that you failed to uphold. You failed him on that day, right? He then go on to say, I too know this pain, the loss of a child, of one's dear sweet boy, and the hole it leaves, a hole we must inhabit. As there's a baby right in the middle crying, surrounded by females in red gowns, drawing their knives, waiting for Lucky to give her answer. What this entity is doing is trying to get Lucky to get into a covenant with them. And they are using something so sacred to her, something that she had to endure, the loss of a child. And this is what he says, a gift I offer you is one I was not blessed to receive. Leave your suffering, and out there will only ever be a torment to you, pain, but here with him, be as if new. So he's offering Lucky her child again to enter a covenant with her. Now Lucky sees through all of it, and she said this, my boy is gone. You lost your boy. Well, that's where our similarity and devil. All this time you're spent trying to blind me, blind us, stop us from seeing ourselves. Well, I'm right here, and I see you, and I see you. As she pulls the cross from his hand and drop it in the dirt, I see you, I see you. Now, this entity Epps used the Bible to destroy the black travelers in his time, and they used the Bible to justify the inhumane treatment of another human. It's a Bible that they use to enslave people. And that is why I try to tell individuals, be careful of that book known as a Bible. It's not 100%. right? Now, this movie is unloading a whole lot on a spiritual level. You need to watch it for yourself, use critical thinking, and connect the dots. Another important scene before I go that I want you to look for is a scene where they're having a conference talking about the housing market and how these men are looking to corner the market. They are basically looking to sell people houses that is double the price that they could not normally afford. And what one of them say, if they fail to pay the mortgage, they win. If they pay the mortgage, they win. So both sides, they win, right? Another go on to say that black people do not like to live around other black people. And that is so true, because we see that happening today. This is a very, very interesting series. Hollywood most definitely show you their hand. Please go and watch it for yourself. Understand that we are not alone. We were never alone, right? And the spiritual war that is fighting around humanity is getting ready to spill on out into our reality. We have to pray and ask for strength and guidance, because things are about to get supernatural real fast. This system is coming to an end, and confession is all out. Check your movies, watch them with a critical eyes, because Hollywood is confessing its sins. We need to pray to the Most High and say, glory be to the Most High.